Those harsh, mocking voices keep echoing in my head. Sue me out. The only one I love is Yibulgan, not a vicious female like you. Your exile is entirely your own fault. I'd rather destroy half my powers just to break our bond. So what if you used your family's influence to force us into your manor? Not a single one of us would ever want to touch you. 5 stunningly handsome men stand before me, their eyes filled with utter disgust. They didn't even care if they coughed up blood and injured themselves, just to forcibly dissolve our marriage contract, while the original me screamed like a lunatic. How dare you! You are my beast husbands! I don't allow this. I gasp and snap my eyes open. My heart races as I look around. This unfamiliar room. Where am I? Before I can even process it, a soft, trembling voice cuts through the silence. Jiuhan. He's unwell. I cannot serve you tonight, mistress. Please, punish me. I look down, startled. Kneeling on the cold floor by the bed is a breathtakingly handsome man. His body is covered in angry, bruised whip welts. The animal skin draped over him has slipped down, revealing his broad shoulders and narrow waist. Please, mistress, punish me. That's when it hits me. I've transmigrated. The original owner of this body was the heir of a powerful noble family in the imperial city, but after her family fell from grace, she was exiled to the barrens. She originally had 10 beast husbands. 5 of them, who had powerful backgrounds, forcibly broke their bonds with her. The remaining 5 were forced to follow her all the way to the Belui tribe. Unable to cope with the harsh life of exile, the original owner took all her rage and resentment out on them, whipping and abusing them constantly. The man kneeling before me is the wolf beastman, Yajihan. Just moments ago, the original owner drugged him, trying to force herself on him. In his desperate struggle to resist, he pushed her. She hit her head against the wall and died on the spot. And that's exactly when I ended up taking over her body. You should get up first. I'm really not used to people kneeling to me. The moment the words leave my mouth, Jazian's entire body tenses up, a cold dread washing over him. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have pushed you, mistress. Please, punish me as you see fit. If you are tired of me, you can cast me out. I won't utter a single word of complaint. I will accept my fate. Wait, I didn't even sound angry. Why is he so terrified? Just as I was utterly bewildered, the door slammed open. A man dressed in fiery red beast skins walked in and placed some paper and a pen on the table. Life Master, since you want to divorce us anyway, why don't you divorce me too? You must be exhausted from beating us so much lately. I would hate for your precious hands to hurt from hitting us. Besides, the one you love most is young Master Jiang anyway. Hua Lengye looked at me with pure disgust. I wanted nothing more than to write the divorce papers right then and there. But when I took a moment to examine my body, I realized my wood element ability had weakened. Only a faint trace of it remained. The Belui tribe has a brutally cold environment, and my enemies from the capital will definitely send assassins to kill me. I need their protection. There's no rush. That said calmly. Within 3 months, if you protect me from harm, I will let you go. And when that time comes, I'll give you your divorce papers. They were stunned. Their eyes were filled with suspicion. Just as Hua Lengye was about to demand an explanation, an urgent shout came from outside. Oh no! Sister, come quick! Your beast husband was attacked by a magical beast and is badly hurt. He's not going to make it. Images of my other 3 beast husbands instantly flashed through my mind. I had no idea which one of them was injured. I couldn't afford to overthink, so I scrambled out of bed and ran out of the stone house. In the courtyard, several people were carrying an Komodo snake. He was massive, over 10 meters long. A stunningly beautiful green bamboo snake, but his body was covered in severe wounds. To be sure, bleeding heavily without stopping. It was a horrifying sight. Lingting sighed. Sister, your beast husband is so badly hurt. He can't even maintain his human form.
小九喊恩后灵应，天猫着说。
When they saw Wennichi state, their eyes were filled with a cold numbness. I couldn't care about anything else, so I rushed forward, placing my hand on Wennance's head. What are you trying to do?
喝了，灵验是肺使他炸死的。
He's practically dying. Can't you just let him go for once? He didn't even call me wife anymore. Zhao Yuhan tensed up his entire body, stepping forward to block my path. I didn't have the time to deal with them. I channeled the faint wood-type ability within me. A soft green glow emerged from my palm, slowly seeping into Wennance's body. Lin Jin's eyes widened instantly. My girl, you actually have an ability? You can heal injuries? I didn't answer, because my consciousness was suddenly pulled into a mental realm. A bamboo forest where a massive green serpent was coiled around a thick stalk. Its scales were dull, and its body was covered in ragged wounds. He watched me calmly, flicking his tongue weakly. Wife? His voice was so gentle, completely different from Xia Yahan and Hua Lengye. There was a warmth thipping from his very bones. I walked over and reached out to touch him. His body gave a slight tremble, but he didn't pull away. Don't worry, you're going to recover. I released my wood-type ability from my hands. The green light enveloped him, and his wounds began to heal slowly. His body relaxed as well, A flash of surprise crossed Wen Nanxi's eyes. Thank you for healing me, wife. This is just something I should be doing. I continued to output my energy. In this world, a wife has the duty to heal her husbands and soothe their mental realms. But my predecessor never did, and her husbands never let her touch them anyway. I don't know how much time passed, but Wen Nanxi's injuries were basically fully healed. However, due to the excessive drain on my energy, everything went black, and I fainted. Before losing consciousness, I felt myself being caught steadily. When I woke up again, it was already the next morning. The room was completely empty. I got up to wash my face. Staring into the basin, I saw my reflection. One side of my face was perfectly fine, but the other was pitch black and horribly disfigured. It looked terrifying. My predecessor had become insecure and incredibly violent because of it, but I knew better. As long as I could purge the poison, my face would completely heal. I stepped out of the room. Someone was in the yard, chopping firewood. Hearing me approach, Wen Nanxi stopped. He turned around, his voice gentle and soft. "You're awake, my lady?" "Yeah," I muttered. Still not quite used to all of this. He put down the firewood he was holding. He went into the kitchen and brought out 2 red fruits and 2 bird eggs. "This is all we have left in the house. I'm sorry to make you suffer like this, my lady."
焦裕涵和胡里阳问到汉卿和子廷这盟内，
They should be able to bring back some meat. I knew it was my fault. The environment of the Baloa tribe was brutally harsh. Food was incredibly scarce. Even though my beast husbands were level 3 warriors, the forest was still deadly. Starving one day and eating the next was a way of life. "It's fine, let me cook today," I said. Beastmen in these primitive tribes usually ate raw meat, but my predecessor had grown up in the imperial city. She was used to cooked meals. So, there was still firewood kept in the house. When Datches came over to help me tend the fire, I used the bird eggs and red fruits to whip up a simple tomato egg soup. They called them red fruits, but they were just regular tomatoes. Once it was done, I handed him a bowl. He looked at me, his eyes filled with suspicion and curiosity. Yet, he didn't ask a single question. "Where did you find these red fruits?" I asked. If I could get more tomatoes, I could cook so many different dishes. I could even make tomato paste and sell it in the city. "We found them in the tomb forest," Wen Nanxi explained softly. "Can you take me there after we eat?" I asked. "All right," he agreed. I noticed he hadn't even picked up his spoon. "Hurry up and eat it while it's hot," I urged. "I can't finish all of this anyway. And besides, you have to tell me how my cooking is." Wen Nanxi still didn't budge. Then, it suddenly hit me. Yesterday, my predecessor had poisoned Jiajian's food, trying to use the drug to force me into bed. No wonder he was too scared to even touch the food. I felt the corners of my mouth twitch in awkwardness. "Don't worry. I have absolutely no interest in either of you anymore." "Good. There's no poison in the food." "Good." Only then did he finally pick up his spoon. I honestly thought he'd leave some for me to eat. Back when food was scarce, I would always eat my fill first. He only got the leftovers after I was finished. But after he took one sip of the soup, a look of pure shock appeared in his eyes. "How did it taste?" His eyes softened, glimmering with a gentle, faint light. Even his entire aura seemed to mellow out. "It's delicious," I said with a smile. "Then you should drink it all. Once we head into the mountains and find more ingredients, we'll make something even better." Seeing the genuine smile on his face, I thought to myself, if you want the horse to run, you've got to make sure the horse is well fed first. In 3 months, when this relationship ends, I don't want them hating me too much. Wen Nanxi's expression suddenly shifted. "You don't have to push yourself so hard, my wife." I didn't say a word in response. I knew that no matter what I said, they wouldn't believe me anyway. So, I didn't bother to explain myself. Time will reveal my true intentions. After the meal, Wen Nanxi cleared away the bowls and chopsticks. Once outside, he transformed into his true form, a giant snake, and signaled for me to get on. I climbed onto his serpent body and wrapped my arms around him. In an instant, I could clearly feel his whole body tense up. He almost lost his balance and fell right out of the air. He picked up his pace immediately. Soon we reached the patch of red fruit, and he quickly lowered me down. I looked over at him. He was invisible to others. He still looked as elegant and composed as ever. It was only the tips of his ears that were turning a deep shade of red. So, these were the red fruits they were talking about. Seeing the ground covered in tomatoes, my eyes lit up with excitement, but I didn't have anything to carry them in. I had no choice but to find some vines and weave a basket. "Wen Nanxi, could you help me get some matan vines?" "All right." He brought back the vines. I sat down and started weaving. My hands are quite skillful. When I was little in the village, I learned these traditional crafts from my grandparents. I was leaving really fast. Wen Nanxi watched me, wondering what his wife was making. I'm making a basket to carry red fruits. If you're bored, you can walk around nearby, but don't go too far. If I'm in danger, I'll call out to you." He nodded and went nearby to hunt for prey. I kept picking tomatoes and filling up the basket. Just as I was busy, I suddenly sensed a dangerous vibe. I looked back, and a massive thorn beast was charging straight at me. "Wen Nanxi!" I screamed at the top of my lungs. With a single leap, I scrambled quickly up the nearby tree. When Wen Nanxi rushed over, he saw me perched up in the tree. His eyes showed genuine shock. How did his wife know how to climb trees? Immediately after, His gaze turned cold, and he fast-tracked into a fight with the thorn beast. He is usually so gentle and refined, but when he's actually fighting, he exudes such a cold, powerful aura. His bone blades spun through the air, darting toward the beast like a gale. The thorn beast reacted incredibly fast, dodging the lethal blow. But the blades spun right back into his hand. He leaped down from midair and drove the bone blade straight through the beast's neck. His movements were so elegant and effortless, not even a single drop of blood touched him. The beast collapsed and died. My eyes went wide. He took it down so easily without even using his full strength. His gentleness is just a facade. His true strength is terrifying. How on earth did my predecessor ever dare to mess with a mate this powerful? Seeing that I was still stunned and hadn't reacted, he leaped up into the tree toward me. I gasped, stumbling backward on instinct. Caught off guard, I tumbled straight down. He caught me midair. "Are you all right, my wife?" Held in his arms, I could smell the clean, refined scent on him. My body went rigid against my will, thinking of how he slaughtered those wild beasts, and how my predecessor used to abuse him. I didn't even dare to touch him. I'm fine.
You can just put me down.
When Nancy looked down at me, his gaze dark and unfathomable. All he saw in my eyes was vigilance, which was different from before. He lowered his head, his voice raspy. "My wife, are you afraid of me?" I bit my lip. No, how could I be? I looked up and met the darkness in his eyes, like a vortex ready to swallow me whole. I suddenly realized I knew absolutely nothing about this snake beast husband. His usual gentle demeanor was just a mask. I wanted down, but he wouldn't let go, and I couldn't break free. My supernatural powers were too weak. My wife used to love it when I held her like this. He smiled sweetly. "Well, I'm trying to turn over a new leaf, aren't I?" Just as I was thinking of how to escape, a soft, cute voice popped into my head. "Host, I've finally woken up." "Oh, it's the space system. Thank goodness you're okay. What about the supplies in my storage space?" "Host, I was injured when you transmigrated. Right now the space access is limited. There's only half an acre of land left. The supplies can only be unlocked after an upgrade." "What's the trigger for the upgrade?" "Well, intimate contact with your beast husband will release the permissions. It was your hug that allowed me to wake up. If you were to, do more intimate things, the space would upgrade much faster." My mouth twitched. "If you want me to stay alive, don't ever say that again. Let's just rely on ourselves to find food for now." Snapping back to reality,
But unless he had already set me down.
I quickly moved away from him to get a better look at that beast. "Can you even eat that thing?" "No way. That's gotta be a mutant beast." I cast my eyes downward, looking thoughtful. I have no choice but to keep picking tomatoes to level up. Don't. And he immediately came over to help me. In no time at all, the baskets were completely full. I still wanted to find something else, though. As I was looking around, my space system suddenly got all excited. "Host, there are sweet potatoes buried under the grass, 100 meters ahead." Hearing the system's voice, my depression shifted instantly. "Sweet potatoes? With these, we won't have to go hungry today. Plus, they have such a high yield. I can keep planting them from here on out." "System, you are absolutely amazing." I headed forward. Feeling determined, "I can scan everything within a 100-meter radius," the system added. I arrived exactly where the system told me to go. I pulled back the thick grass, and there they were. Sweet potato leaves. I quickly started harvesting some of them first. When Nanja was standing right by my side, he watched me picking the weeds and looked confused. "Are these sweet potato leaves?" "They're edible," I explained. I looked up at him. "Trust me, these aren't just weeds. People in this world have no idea about the food hidden underground." I batted my eyelashes at him. "When Nancy, could you please help me dig into the ground?" His expression flickered with surprise. In the past, I only ever ordered him around. I had never spoken to him this nicely before. Fine. He used his bone blade, channeling his ability into it, and started digging. With one powerful thrust, he created a huge hole in the ground. Some of the sweet potatoes cracked. "Hey, don't use so much force. There's food down there." He softened his movements, carefully digging out the sweet potatoes one by one. I brushed off the dirt and tucked them into my basket. My eyes crinkled into a smile. "Thank you." He just stood there, stunned for a moment. It's like I've never heard those two words before. Speechless. This is just what I'm supposed to do. But the basket isn't big enough to hold it all. I just put the sweet potatoes directly into my storage space, watching the food vanish into thin air. When Nanshi. They wore a look of pure disbelief. He whispered, sounding confused. "A space? Yeah, I have space powers too. I didn't plan on hiding it. Showing off my powers might make them think twice before crossing me. Don't go thinking about getting revenge on me all the time." It was clear that a storm of shock was raging in his heart. Healing powers plus space abilities. You really are different from before. I told you, I want to turn over a new leaf. In 3 months, I'll set you both free. He didn't say anything else. I went back to picking mushrooms and wood ear fungus. He warned me that they were poisonous. I explained that some mushrooms aren't toxic at all, and wood ear is perfectly safe once you process it properly. Whether he believed me or not, I just kept on picking. Then the system pinged, There's ginger and scallions 100 meters to the left. I rushed over to dig them up. With scallions and ginger, I can finally get rid of the gamey smell when cooking. With all this food, we won't have to worry about eating or drinking for a few days. Maybe it's because we killed that beast earlier? There aren't any other predators around for now. Seeing that it was getting late, I stood up, ready to head back, when Nancy shifted into his snake form. I sat there, stiff and proper. I didn't dare move a muscle, and I certainly didn't dare to hug him. But then, he took off at full speed. I almost fell right off. He caught me with his tail and said, "My wife, you can hold on to me." Hold on tight? Wait, doesn't he hate it when I try to hug him? I was just about to say no, when the space system screamed in my head, "Host, hurry, hug him!" Even if it's just a hug, if it lasts long enough, I might be able to unlock a few more permissions. I squeezed my eyes shut. Screw it, I'm going for it. I grabbed him in a tight hug. The moment I held onto him, his speed seemed to slow down. Once he slowed down, I slowly opened my eyes and couldn't help but look down. There was a river in the valley, with water so clear you could see right to the bottom. It was packed with huge fish, 5 or 6 pounds. Some even 10 pounds each. When did I see? Let's go down to the river and catch some fish. He landed by the riverside and shifted into his human form, gently setting me down. His attitude seemed to have shifted a little. I really wanted to make fish balls. I was craving fish. He gave a refined smile and said, "All right, I used to hate fish because of the fishy smell. Back in the tribe, someone had once choked to death on a fish bone, so nobody ever ate it. He used his wind ability to sweep across the water, and over a dozen fish landed on the bank. Then, he gracefully picked some grass to string them all together. I tucked them into my storage space one by one. There were too many to eat at once, so I could make fish balls later. Just as we were about to head back, I spotted river snails and shrimp in the grass by the bank. My eyes lit up. This place was absolutely overflowing with supplies. There were ingredients everywhere. I scooped up all those shrimp and snails and put them into my storage space too. After all that work, I was drenched in sweat. I needed wind too, and asked in my soft voice, "That's enough. We don't need any more. If we need more food later, we can always come back." When Najai nodded and carried me back to the stone house. The sun hadn't set yet. It was probably around 4 in the afternoon.
Xiao Jian and Wang Lingyi still hadn't returned.
When Najai took the initiative to explain that they might have traveled further out, which should be back by nightfall. "It's fine," I replied. "They can come back whenever they want. Honestly, it'd be better if they didn't come back at all. The food I managed to get today is enough for Wen Nanqi and me." He studied my expression closely. He realized I truly didn't care. If it were before, I would have already started cursing. "Wife, you've been working hard all day. Go rest first." I went to the kitchen and said, "I'll handle the cooking. As for these ingredients, you would know how to prepare them. I'll take over. I'm planning to make fish noodles. A fish that's 5 or 6 pounds is just right." Women lads watched me wash my hands, full of curiosity. "Can I help you with anything?" "Help me wash the mushrooms, wood ear, and sweet potato leaves. Okay?" He took a wooden basin and went out to the yard to wash them. I fetched some water and started prepping the fish. I used a bone knife to slice off the fish head and bones to boil into a broth. Then, I scraped the fish meat into a paste. Just then I heard some noise outside. Red Longye was back. He was carrying a wild boar on his shoulders. He saw the things in the yard. His eyes narrowed. "Did you bring all this back? You're so badly injured. Yet, he won't let you rest, making you go out to scavenge for food?" Wen Nanji explained. "Wife is the one who gathered these linge." A cold sneer curled at his lips. "Wen Nat Chi, didn't you hate her just as much? Don't tell me that just because she treated your wounds once. You're already speaking up for her? No one here is willing to step foot in a kitchen, let alone this wife of ours. Don't forget what she did to you before. Who knows what kind of trick she's playing this time? I don't believe for a second she's actually changed. My predecessor had tried faking memory loss and acting kind to gain their favor before, only to end up being even worse." Wen Nanqi paused, his movements stiffening. "She's in the kitchen. If you don't believe me, go see for yourself." Hu Longye looked toward the kitchen. He saw me working away and was stunned. His eyesight was incredibly sharp, and he could see me skillfully slicing the fish with lightning speed. What is she doing? Cooking fish? Didn't she always despise the smell of fish more than anything? Does salted fish have bones? I frowned when I heard that. I ignored them. It's only for 3 months anyway. Let them say whatever they want.
When Anis replied softly, "You weren't here this morning."
He even made breakfast, that kind of sour red fruit. He was somehow able to turn it into a delicious soup.
Frying Ya clearly didn't believe it.
He just silently went over to butcher the pork. I looked at him, working away in silence in the yard. I remembered how the previous me once tried to skin his fox pelt while he was severely injured and in his original form. That coat of fiery red fox fur was truly noble, stunning. Thinking of those memories, I felt a bit of a headache coming on. If I write a divorce letter now, they'll probably turn around and kill me on the spot. Then, I saw the wild boar they brought back. My eyes lit up. The kick skin can be made into meat jelly. The pit fat can be rendered into lard. The cork fat can be rendered for oil. And the cracklings make a great snack. People in this world have huge appetites, but they're often hungry. Making some snacks to eat in their spare time. Sing's Fuangang is in the yard cutting up the roasted meat. And the water vat is running low. I'll just grab the wooden bucket and go fetch some water.
I can't just sit around idle at home anyway.
My eyes felt numb. My chest felt tight.
When Xiao Jiahan returned, he happened to run into him.
Seeing the look on his face, he asked, "What's wrong? Did he do something to you again?"
护领养了冲宝。你提针对什么？
He's just in the kitchen cooking. He has never even set foot in the kitchen before. He doesn't know how to cook at all. Yet suddenly he's doing it?
Do you think?
Is he Xiao planning to poison us this time?
As I scrape the fish,
I listened to Shai Jian and Hua Lenge talking.
Yesterday was my fault. If I hadn't fought back, perhaps he wouldn't have become even more twisted. Xia Yahan's voice was icy. He knew your temperament well. You'd rather die than let him touch a hair on your head. Huilingye and I feel the same way, so you don't need to be so torn. If I were to disappear for a long time, like Mei Qingshan and Shen Xian did, completely ignoring him, that would be easy and carefree.
Mai Qingshan and Shen Qian are two of my other husbands.
The marriage contract is still in effect, but they vanished without a trace. They both have powerful family backgrounds and secret methods to suppress the husband contract. Even if Su Mengel were to die, we would still be able to live perfectly fine. Xiaoyan lowered his head and said, "But we can't do that." They were right. If I were to die, it would have to be buried with me. After saying that, they walked over to where Wen Nanxi and I were. Huilingye and I won't be joining for dinner, they said. Wen Nanxi sighed. The wife master is different than she used to be. Let's just eat together, I urged.
小小很是个是很。We're not hungry.
The fisherman's hands paused as he was scraping the fish. Looking at the basin full of food, the fisherman's tone sounded a bit aggrieved. I prepared enough food for 4 people. As soon as those words fell, they shot me a look of pure disgust and walked away. Wei Nanzhai's patted my head to comfort me. I'll take it to their room tonight. All right, I replied. The space system chuckled in my mind. Haha, host, they're just afraid you've poisoned the food. My mouth twitched in annoyance. I know how to cook quickly. I rendered some pork lard to stir-fry the tomato and eggs, made fish soup, and prepared fresh fish noodles. I filled 2 plates with roasted sweet potatoes, tomato and eggs, roasted sweet potatoes, 2 big bowls of fish noodles, and a large bowl of fish soup. To prove there was no poison, I ate and drank it all right in front of Wen Nanxi. I didn't drug it, I said, and I definitely didn't poison it. I'm still counting on you all to protect me. There's no way I'd kill off my own food source.
When Nancy's gaze was soft. I know they'll eat it.
He took the food and headed to Xiao Yiman's room. I continued to clean up the kitchen. Badly. I could hear the sounds of them eating from over there. A little while later, more time passed. When the niece is back. I sat at the table, watching his smiling eyes as he returned. Let's eat together. Wen Nanxi was stunned for a moment. Wife, were you waiting for me? Of course. We made this meal together. Naturally, I had to wait for you to eat. Wen Nanxi met my gaze. His gentle, refined face softened. All right. After he sat down, I handed him his chopsticks and spoon. Only then did we begin to eat. Having been hungry all day, the fish noodles topped with a poached egg and boiled sweet potato leaves tasted delicious. I focused on eating, not looking at him. Once I had eaten my fill, I looked up at Wen Nanxi. Honestly, I wasn't even sure of his background. I only remembered that my predecessor's father had brought him home one day and instructed me to treat him well. Is the food to your liking?
When Alice asked awfully.
It's very delicious. If you want to eat something specific, wife, just tell me. I can make it for you, so you don't have to go through the trouble. I smiled and said, it's all right. I'm idle anyway. Besides, I love cooking delicious food. In the apocalypse, ingredients were limited. Coming to this world, although the culture is underdeveloped, all the supplies are organic. And I can make all sorts of delicacies. Makes me very happy. When Nanetsi looked at my bright expression and knew I was telling the truth. Then, I help you out from now on. After we finish the meal, Wen Annie cleared the dishes as if it were the most natural thing in the world. This was the first full meal he had eaten here since he arrived. I went to the courtyard to burn some wood ash, preparing to wash the pork offal. The weather was still hot. If the pork isn't processed quickly, it spoils easily. Food is hard to come by, so not a single bit can go to waste. It's just that we're out of spices. Maybe the nearby cities have apothecaries that sell them, but it takes a lot of meat and animal hides to trade for them. I'm planning to dry these mushrooms and grind them into a powder to use as seasoning. I'll dry the woodier mushrooms and store those away too.
Meanwhile, Shai Jian and Horonye stared at their empty bowls and plates, both lost in thought.
So like in Yammer, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed that the food he cooked could taste this good. Back in the clan, I'd never even had a meal like this.
Xiao Jihan said in a low voice.
By all rights, we should be the ones taking care of him.
It shouldn't be him cooking for us.
For like you sighed helplessly. Do you think we didn't want to cook for him? It's just that he was always so picky about what we made.
Whenever he got angry, he'd flip the table after all our hard work.
He'd rather throw it all away than let us eat it.
It's like the sun is rising from the west today.
Planning you felt like he was dreaming.
Hu Yejia mentioned that Wen Nanxi said he's different today compared to before.
Could it actually be true? A flicker of emotion stirred in Yao Xian's cold eyes.
It seems like ever since he hit his head against the wall, his entire demeanor changed after he woke up. Let's just wait and see. Don't fall for his trap.
Who like you slumped?
You're right. Let's just clean up the dishes first. When they stepped out of the house, they saw me busy working in the courtyard and thought they were hallucinating. I didn't even look back.
When Nancy finished cleaning up the house and came outside,
He walked up to me and whispered, "Wife, do you need any help with that?"
I've got it. There's not much left.
Just need to scrub these clean. That's all. When Nasi saw what I was scrubbing in the basin, his expression shifted. Usually, whenever we brought back wild beasts from the hunt, these parts were always thrown away. Nobody knew how to eat them. I patiently explained, "These are actually good to eat too. Once you scrub them clean with wood ash, they turn out great. From now on, we can keep the animal lawful."
Nasi, I promise I won't let you all go hungry anymore.
When Wendan's heard those words, he looked into my eyes and saw my sincerity.
His gaze softened instantly. I believe you, wife.
It's just our duty to make sure you don't go hungry, my wife. Is there anything I can help with? Those sweet potatoes. I was planning on slicing them all into small pieces. I said, "That works. I'll take care of it." I just sat to the side, watching them quietly. Just then, Shajian and Holongyi finished clearing the dishes and came over to help. The three of them worked together. Before long, the chopped sweet potatoes were in the pot, boiling over a high flame. Once they were soft and mushy, I headed inside after cleaning the offal. I saw Wen Nanxi watching the pot. Zhao Jihan and Hu Lingye were mashing the sweet potatoes into a paste. I was slightly surprised. I hadn't expected that even though they despise me, they still pull their weight when it comes to chores. I stepped up to Wen Nanxi and said, "That should be enough. Scoop it out first and strain it." I grabbed a piece of cheesecloth and a wooden bucket. Wen Nanyas followed my instructions. "It's still a bit hot right now. Wait for it to cool down a bit before squeezing the cloth." Yao Jian. He moved his fingers. A surge of icy air wrapped around the bucket and the cloth. The temperature dropped instantly. I was stunned. I turned my head to look at him with bright, burning eyes. I almost forgotten that Zhao Jihan's ability is ice-based. A natural refrigerator. I really wanted to ask him to help me build an ice cellar to store food, but I was afraid he'd refuse. I held back and didn't say a word. My eyes dimmed with disappointment. Turning his head, Yajian frowned slightly. He lowered his voice and asked, "Wife, is there something you need me to do?" I was taken aback. I didn't expect him to ask me voluntarily. His voice was still cold and distant, but it didn't seem to have that piercing chill from yesterday. I turned to look at him. Seeing that his eyes were calm, I spoke up. "Could you help me dig an ice cellar in the corner of the yard? Just store meat and other food. It'd be a waste if it's spoiled." It's a habit I picked up from the apocalypse. I hate wasting food. Chai Qian's expression shifted slightly. "Good. Keep your voice down." He went straight out to the courtyard and sat in the ice cellar. Talk about top-tier execution. Huan Ning didn't seem like he wanted to be outdone. He used his ability to set the firewood ablaze directly. His is a fire-type ability. It's the most useful thing to have in the winter. I looked over at him. His eyes were sparkling. Like he realized my gaze was fixed only on his ability. I hadn't even spared a glance at him. A flicker of grievance crossed his eyes. I thought he was feeling sorry for himself, so I immediately moved away from his side. I walked over to Wen Nanxi. I taught him how to strain the sweet potato leaves and boil the juice down in a pot. If I calculated right, we'd have sweet potato starch by tomorrow night. Maybe I'd even be able to make sweet potato noodles. Once everything was mostly taken care of, I used the hot water I'd prepped to take a bath. Just as I was about to step out, I heard a strange noise from outside. My expression shifted instantly. I hurried out of the room to the doorway, only to see a swarm of monsters appearing outside. All the bear beasts in the tribe were already in the heat of battle. They were mutant beasts, even more grotesque than the ones we saw during the day.
文胆妮或灵异，按小一码我发点灯了。
They were moving at lightning speed, using their abilities to shift into all sorts of weapons. "Look out!" Yachan darted forward. His weapon-type ability manifested a blade that pierced right through a mutant beast's skull. Black blood started pouring out. Xiao Gan used his weapon ability to instantly freeze it solid. These mutant beasts seemed to be targeting me specifically. Lai Hem-ing unleashed his fire ability to torch them. Their screeches were eerie, mixed with these sharp, shrill laughs. Nasi's movements were incredibly swift. It was almost like he was teleporting, taking down one mutant beast after another. In no time, they worked together and wiped them all out. When Natchez was at my side in a heartbeat, he looked me over carefully. "Are you all right?" He was worried I'd been scared, but I kept my expression calm, not looking the least bit scared. I was just startled, not terrified. I shook my head and said, "I'm fine. Xiao Jiham and Honlingi stared at me, completely stunned. In the past, whenever she heard the sound of mutant beasts, she'd hide in the room and tremble. But now, I was saying I was fine. Naturally, they were shocked. No sooner had I finished speaking, when then she let out a soft sigh. He reached out, gently smoothing my hair. It's good that you're okay. Wife, it's easy to catch a cold coming out with wet hair. Let's go back inside first. He reached over and scooped me up into his arms. I was caught completely off guard. My instincts kicked in, and I clung to his neck. Xiaojian and Walling Yu both looked on with expressions of shock and confusion.
门烂徐埋步间走。
But he's not exactly an easygoing guy. He never even let the original owner touch him before. The space system started shrieking in my head, totally hyped. Host, get him to hold you more. Hold on tighter. Give him a kiss. Maybe that'll unlock permissions and drop more supplies. Look, I actually tried that. He'd probably toss me straight out the door. He's the one holding you first. That means he doesn't hate you. Just think about all those supplies you've got stashed in your space. I have to admit, I was tempted, but I wasn't going to throw myself at him. Still, since he was the one holding me, I figured holding on for a little longer wouldn't hurt.
When Mandyex carried me into the room and set me down on the bed,
I didn't let go. System, hurry up and unlock some permissions.
when Enhais looked down at me tenderly.
Is something wrong? Are you not feeling well? I pursed my lips. I bit the bullet and said, I'm just a little scared. God knows, after saying that, I just wanted the ground to open up and swallow me whole.
When Nachi's heart softened,
He pulled me into a tighter embrace. Don't be afraid. I'm here. I won't let those mutant beasts hurt you. Xiao Jian and Hulingye walked into the room, just in time to see this scene. Their eyes landed on me. Their expressions were complicated. Just then,
The space system said excitedly.
Host, the space has released some seasoning packets. You can let him go now. I hurriedly pulled away from Lin Nancy's arms, saying, I'm fine now. I didn't dare to look at him, afraid that he might see I only ever treated him as a tool. When Menatsi smiled gently. My wife, your hair isn't dry yet. She took out a clean cloth, wanting to help me dry it. Huweni hesitated for a moment, then stepped forward and said, let me do it. He first released a scorching heat, drying my hair instantly. I was completely amazed. This was way more effective than a hairdryer. What surprised me even more was that Hulilinya, who hated me so much, would actually take the initiative to help. How could he help me? As he got closer, his expression suddenly turned suspicious. He is a fox beast, extremely sensitive to scents and aura. In the past, my scent was dark and ice-cold. Now, Hulinyi almost lost control of his ability. A tiny flame flickered from his fingertips. Careful, Kilatone. Careful, Shajian used a blade of ice to extinguish it.
Hulingye snapped back to reality.
And quickly apologized. I'm sorry. I shook my head. It's fine, it's fine. I said it was fine, out loud. But inside, I thought he probably hated me enough to want to burn me alive. No matter what. Thank you both for protecting me tonight. When Inaji said softly, protecting our wife is our duty. I didn't buy that. In the past, when mutant beasts broke in at night, the original owner was scared into a sickness. But this time, they handled it so cleanly and decisively. I should show some appreciation. To show my gratitude, I said. I'll make you all the delicious breakfast tomorrow. I'll cook it.
Holing, you spoke up.
Tomorrow is my turn to stay home and look after you.
I'll take good care of you. I wanted Winnanchi to stay with me instead, but it felt unfair to ask. Hunting is truly dangerous. What is going on with these mutant beasts? When Nancy explained that beasts affected by that strange black mist mutate into mutant beasts, their strength increases significantly. They develop a habit of attacking beastmen. Normally, they only stay deep in the mountains and forests, but on the night of a full moon, they break into the tribe to hunt down beastmen. The meat of these mutant beasts is poisonous. I asked if anyone knew what kind of dark energy that was. Wayne Madnese whispered. No one knows. The further north you go, where it's colder, the more mutant beasts there are. That's why all the exiled beastmen are sent to the North Lua tribe. After Wen Nancy's explanation, I finally had a better understanding of these mutant beasts. Being exiled to the North Lo tribe, in the eyes of those living in the Imperial Beast City, is practically a death sentence. The climate is brutally cold. There are mutant beasts everywhere, and food is scarce. When the snowy season arrives, the mutant beasts won't show up. But if you haven't stored enough food and animal hides, you'll still freeze or starve to death. Right now, it's early July on the lunar calendar. The snowy season will likely start around November. I have 4 months to prepare. It would be best if I could upgrade my dimensional space during this time. That way, I could finally take out the supplies I've stockpiled. But for now, I still need to gather as much food as I can. After processing all this information, I said kindly, thank you both. I'm fine. Now, I'm going to rest. You should head back and get some sleep too. Even though my tone was gentle, they could see the distance in my expression. Before, when the original owner of this body begged them to come closer, they would always stay far away. Now that their opinion of me is finally shifted, I'm the one pushing them away. Well, Laju, tuck the blanket in for me.
All right, mistress. Rest well.
I'll be right next door.
If you need anything, just call out. I nodded. Once they both left, I immediately slipped into my dimensional space. The SPI system activated. Host, please take note. It turns out, new seasonings had appeared on the farmland in the space. Vinegar, soy-based, and soy sauce. And packs of spices, too. My eyes lit up. With these, I can whip up so many delicious meals. I can use them to make braised dishes with the pork offal. Feeling my excitement, the Spurple system was happy too. Pointing at the pile of sweet potatoes, it said, "Host, these sweet potatoes are twice as big as the ones we stocked up before." It's true. The onions, ginger, and sweet potatoes in the city are almost double the size of the ones from the apocalypse. Even though they're huge, they taste incredibly sweet. Plus, they're organic, with absolutely no pesticides. Cooking them over a wood fire makes them smell extra delicious. I planted the sweet potatoes in the space, using my mind to handle the planting. First, I used my ability to sprout them, then tucked them into the soil within the space. After finishing everything, I stepped out of the space and heard some whispering outside the door. I quietly crept over to the door, pressing my ear against the wood. Jia Han's voice was the first to speak. "Did you discover something?" With like yes whispered back. I did. The Taintailed Fox clan is extremely sensitive to scents. I can smell that the pheromones on the mistress are completely different from before. Before, her scent was cold, strange, and repulsive. Now, it's clean and warm, like flowers and sunshine. It makes you want to get closer. A person's pheromones, even if they shift slightly, don't just turn into something entirely different. As soon as those words fell, the three of them fell silent. Shortly after, an urgent knocking came from the door. "Little sister, are you home?" It was Sister Lin from next door. I quickly stood up. Ever since the previous host arrived at the tribe, she had been reckless and arrogant, with terrible relationships with everyone in the tribe. Only Ling Qin next door was warm and kind, always calling her little sister. She was even willing to share the things she'd gathered with the previous host. I had just come out of the inner room. Lan Lantin was already at the door. "Did that noise outside disturb you, mistress?" "It's Sister Lin. She might have an emergency in the middle of the night. Let's go see."
When Nancy said, "I'll go with you, mistress."
夏季寒冷化灵液，方柔口述彼汗。
I opened the door. Lantin was standing at the door, along with the chief and the chief's wife. Lantin called out to me. "Young lady, the chief and his wife are looking for you," the chief said, his voice trembling with caution. "Miss Su, my daughter was bitten and injured by a mutated creature. The wound is severely infected, and there's no way to treat it. I had to swallow my pride and come beg for your help. As long as you're willing to save my daughter, we'll do anything you ask." The chief's wife looked at me with pleading eyes, too. There are usually figures of great authority, having never lowered themselves to beg anyone before. They hold immense influence in the local area. Their son married into a wealthy family in the city, but their daughter, Nuning, is young and frail, rarely ever leaving the house. I don't know why she was bitten by a mutant this time. An image of the little girl flashed through my mind. Back when my predecessor used to berate her, she would tremble in fear and run away. My expression softened. "Let's go. I'll go take a look." The chief and his wife were stunned, unable to believe I'd agreed so easily. They had actually been prepared to kneel and beg me. The chief's wife said, overwhelmed with emotion, "Thank you so much, Miss Su. As long as you can cure Nining, you'll be our savior." I know it. The chief is a man whose word is law. With this favor between us, life in the settlement will be much easier from now on. Arriving at the chief's home, I saw a girl of about 12 or 13. She had a round face, round eyes, and was so thin she was just skin and bones. Black blood was oozing from the wound on her leg, and she was crying silently from the pain. The chief's wife stepped forward. "Nining, don't be afraid. Miss Su is here to take a look at you." Nining instinctively shuddered when she saw me. I said gently, "It's okay, you'll be fine." She stared at the smile on my face, completely dazed. I began to examine the wound. I unleashed my wood element healing ability. The rapidly festering wound stops rotting immediately. The black, necrotic gunk is cleared away, and the blood turns back to a healthy red. The Chintan and his wife are stunned, staring in disbelief. He's actually okay. Just a few days of rest and the wound will heal completely. The reason his infection was so severe is because his constitution is far too weak. The Chieftain's eyes well up. "To be honest, Miss Hu, Mingying hasn't been able to keep any food down. He throws up everything he eats, and every time winter hits, he's prone to catching severe colds." When I checked Mingying's pulse, I could tell his stomach and spleen are incredibly fragile. He struggles to digest meat, especially eating it raw. That's terrible for his digestive system. On top of that, he's always cooped up indoors and never gets any sunlight. That only makes him weaker. The meat needs to be minced finely and boiled thoroughly in hot water before he eats it. And whenever it's a nice sunny day, make sure he gets outside. The chieftain and his wife take mental notes of every word. They are beyond grateful. The chieftain's wife pulls out a pouch of gold coins.
This is 100 gold coins of the same color. I hope you don't find this gift too humble. Our tribe usually relies on bartering, but we keep these gold coins for when we need to visit the city and trade for necessities. Seeing the gold coins, my eyes light up. That's enough to buy quite a lot of things. I accept the payment without a moment's hesitation. Before I leave, the chieftain's wife also gives me some meat and cornmeal, according to my memories. This place does grow corn, but everyone just boils it whole or grinds into powder to stir into water. They think it's too rough and scratchy to swallow, so they don't like it much. The tribe only stores cornmeal to ensure they don't starve during the winter. But I know better. This stuff is actually a treasure. Tomorrow morning, I could whip up some cornmeal porridge, beat in some eggs, can some sweet potatoes, and make a hearty corn, egg, and sweet potato soup. At the thought of it, my eyes sparkle, and I decide to say, Mem, cornmeal is actually a fantastic ingredient, since Ms. Goose's stomach and spleen are so weak. I bring some cornmeal soup for him to drink tomorrow morning. The lady sighs. I've tried soaking it in water before. It just doesn't like the taste. Even when I boil it in a pot, I really have no idea how to prepare it right. It's clear from the way she talks that she doesn't know the first thing about cooking. How about this? I'll cook a batch tomorrow morning and bring some over for him.
文来句啥家汉，人话灵验，而老未定赴美，因的口译呀。
They all looked on in amazement, watching how easily and gracefully I chatted with the chief's wife. In the past, I was always so sharp-tongued. I'd never spoken with such gentle, soft tones before. When it was time for me to head back, the chief's wife held my hand, clearly reluctant to let me go. Miss Sue, you must come over and visit whenever you have the time, all right? I nodded with a smile. I will.
I went straight to bed as soon as I got home.
It was so hot that lying on the animal hide was honestly pretty miserable. Plus, there were mosquitoes everywhere. I made a mental note to head into the forest during the day to find some herbs to repel the bugs, and I really need to weave some reed mats. The next day, I woke up just as the sky was beginning to brighten. I had barely opened the door when I saw Hulingye standing right there in the courtyard. His fox-like eyes curved, his expression sharp and alert. The original owner of this body used to sleep until the sun was high in the sky. He quickly stepped forward.
You're awake? My wife?
I was caught off guard for a second. You're up this early too.
Yeah. He brought the wash basin and toiletries right over to my side.
I'm not used to this. From now on, just go about your own business. You don't need to take care of me like this.
Claydon sounded a bit awkward as he replied, As your husbands, this is our duty.
I said flatly, You're only my husband's in name, remember? You'll be leaving in 3 months anyway.
There's no need for this.
I really wasn't used to being waited on. It felt like being watched.
When Hulingye heard that,
An uncomfortable feeling washed over him. But there are still 3 months left. For these 3 months, we should be taking care of you. I spoke up. Honestly, you don't have to force yourselves. I can take care of myself just fine, even without you around. I won't starve. Lingyi's heart skipped a beat. She wasn't yelling or being mean, yet hearing those words made his heart feel incredibly heavy. I said earnestly, Don't worry, I mean what I say. With that, I went back to washing up on my own. There was still so much to get done today. After a quick wash, I got ready to make breakfast, steaming the pork offal with the spices that had popped up in my space last night. Hulingye watched me, busy and bustling about, looking so small and frail, like someone who'd been cast aside. It really pulled at the heartstrings. Is there anything I can help with? I turned to look at him, seeing how earnest he was, and said, The sweet potato starch from last night is settled already. We need to pour off the water on top, then add fresh water and stir it. To let it settle again.
Right. Fritz, believe not.
小姨汉的问奈西天楼不调。
They'd woken up early and had heard every word of the conversation between Hulingye and me. The fact that I seemed truly set on cutting ties, this time, left an expression of shock on each of their faces. When Nancy didn't say a word, she just stepped up to tend the fire.
小个喊问老的乔物。
His whole demeanor cold and aloof. I thought back to that first day I transmigrated and felt a bit of internal resistance. I really didn't want to have too much to do with him. Still, he had been dutiful and protective of me last night. I managed to convince myself that I only had to endure this for 3 more months. After a night's sleep, I could feel my supernatural ability grown a little stronger. Stewing the pig offal takes a long time, and you have to watch the fire. When steam started rising from the lid and the rich aroma filled the air, Nancy and the others looked amazed. It smells so good. Even Lin Chain, who was still asleep next door, was woken up by the scent. She was practically drooling in her sleep. Once the pig offal was done stewing, I used another pot to make corn and egg custard. I poured the cornmeal into a wooden basin, added well water, and stirred it until smooth. And I cracked some bird eggs into a bowl and used seasonings from my space, along with some vinegar to take away the gamey smell. When the water in the pot started boiling, I poured in the cornmeal mixture and stirred, then added the whisked eggs. When Nanjiangski watched me using cornmeal in such a way to make food, stunned for a moment, her face full of confusion. Once I finished cooking, I ladled 5 big bowls and set them on the table, then moved the braised meat into a basin. All right, time to eat. Honestly,
Nothing goes better with braised meat than steamed buns or rice.
Too bad there's none of that here.
But according to the memories of the original owner of this body, on this continent, the rice and millet grains are 2 to 3 times bigger than the ones from the apocalypse.
I went to check on Wen Nanshi and the others. They had cleaned the stove area and the yard until it was spotless.
They'd even chopped the firewood and stacked it neatly in the corner.
They'd also finished mixing the cornstarch and set it aside to settle.
My eyes lit up when I caught sight of the ice cellar in the corner of the yard. Chargihim asked in a low, cold voice, "Is there anything you weren't satisfied with regarding what I made last night?" I was just doing some organizing.
I crouched down to peer down the steps. My foot slipped, and I almost took a tumble.
Jachihan reached out to catch me, but remembering how much he detested me, I forced myself to lean the other way instead. I ended up falling onto the ground. Xiao Gehan's fingers trembled for a second. I didn't notice anything unusual about him. I looked down the steps and saw that the cellar was full of ice. I was really pleased. Jagian, thank you. Now we can store all the leftover pork from yesterday.
They looked up at him.
A sincere smile played on my face. "If you need anything else done, just let me know," he said. I waved him off. "No need."
Let's have breakfast first.
I placed a large bowl of corn and egg custard into a basket. "You guys eat first. I'm going to take this over to Nuning. He's physically weak. He should be able to get this down." When Anu stood up, "My wife, you should eat first." "I'll go," I replied. "No need. I'll head over myself. I could check on his condition while I'm at it. The truth is, if I can nurse Nuning back to health, once the tribe realizes I have medical skills comparable to a shaman's, my status in the tribe will definitely rise. That way, even after I leave these husbands behind, I'll be able to live a good life." On the way to the chieftain's place, the road was quiet. All the adults instinctively steer clear of me. Only a few little beastkins stare at me, shouting, "Ugly monster!" "An ugly, mean monster."
Don't talk to him. He'll hit you.
I listened to their words, basking in the sunlight, with a smile on my face. Not bothered in the slightest. I gave them a little smile, and they were so scared they took off in a flash. I couldn't help but laugh. They're actually pretty cute. Those beastkin have weak abilities, and some haven't even fully shifted into human form. With their adorable ears or furry tails peeking out, I arrived at the leader's home. The leader's wife was stunned to see me personally delivering corn and egg custard. Oh my, I couldn't possibly accept this.
Please, have Ninning try it, madam.
His stomach is quite delicate. Let him have something easy to digest to help him recover. As I spoke, I checked his pulse. The spot where the mutant beast bit him had completely healed. Just as I was about to leave after seeing him take the bowl,
Ninging boldly tugged at my sleeve.
he blinked those big, pathetic eyes at me, and my heart just melted. I gave him a gentle pat.
Try the corn and egg custard first.
Eat plenty, and get out in the sun more. Your body will get stronger soon. He obediently took a sip, his eyes sparkling, and the leader's wife was completely floored. "Mu Yao, how on earth did you make this?" I used to give Ninning cornmeal, and he just spit it right back up. I explained how I made it, and she had an epiphany. When I got home, I saw Wen Nanshi and the other two still standing there waiting for me. "Why are you all just standing there? Why haven't you eaten?"
Holding a narrowed his fox-like eyes.
Looking at me with a meaningful gaze. "Wife, have you forgotten your own rule? If you haven't eaten, we aren't allowed to. We only had the right to eat the scraps you left behind before. Now that you let us eat at the table with you and treat us so much better, how could we possibly eat before you?" And Swaingye spoke. Those fox-like eyes stayed locked onto mine. So intense it felt like he was born with that look of pure devotion. I almost found myself lost in his gaze. Thank goodness I stayed calm and rational. That was the past. That was the pout. I laughed it off. Didn't I promise you both a 3-month deadline? I was just thinking, let's try to get along peacefully for these 3 months. And once you get your freedom, please don't come looking for trouble with me.
Wait. When Nancy and Qingjung's eyes flickered slightly.
Rest assured, my lady. Nancy won't hurt a single hair on you now. Feeling yes seemed much more at peace as well. I hope you stay like this, my lady. Please don't go back to how you were before. Shajiham stayed silent, saying nothing. I thought about it. I really was in the wrong before. I want to apologize to you both. Things won't be like that in the future. I know you probably don't believe me, but time will reveal my true heart, right? Just bear with me for now. Who knows, I might even be able to break our contract early. A gentle look filled Wen Nancy's eyes. I don't blame you. You're hungry. Eat something first. I finished my corn and egg custard. I said, once we're done, I'll go hunting too, all right? I'll accompany you, my lady.
Holonge's eyes crinkled as he added, "It's my turn to accompany you today, my lady."
Where would you like to go? Ling, we take you wherever you wish. Sounds good?
His voice carried a teasing, upturned lilt. I didn't even dare to meet his gaze. Actually, I really wanted to go with Wen Nanshi, but I could feel the tension and daggers flying between them. I could only lower my head and say, then let's just stick to the rules. Every dish was delicious during the meal. At first, they didn't even want to touch the pork offal, but after smelling that savory scent, they finally gave in. After all, no other lady would ever cook for their husbands like this. Just for that alone, it shouldn't go to waste. It wasn't until they actually tasted it that they realized how incredible it was. Everyone subconsciously sped up their eating. They kept shooting curious, probing glances at me. I kept my head down, eating silently, nothing but the top of my head showing. This meal was absolute torture. Thank goodness I'm finally full. I looked up and saw that their bowls in the braised food platter were completely empty. You guys still hungry?
Wen Nasi gave a gentle smile.
We're full. The food you made, my wife, was delicious. In the past, we used to throw all this stuff away. Thinking about it now, it really was such a waste. After they finished eating, they scrambled to clear the dishes. Later, when Mansi and Yahaman went out to hunt,
布令雅秃顶他的腹时，
He transformed directly into his true form. A giant, 2-meter-tall, 9-tailed red fox.
I was absolutely stunned. He is truly beautiful. His red fur is so noble and vibrant. Now I understand why my predecessor was so obsessed with wanting to make a garment out of his fur. Halongye is a bit too tall. I tried jumping a few times, but couldn't get up. He curled one of his tails around me, free, and gently placed me on his back. Where do you want to go, my wife? Do you know where I can find the most medicinal herbs? I want to gather herbs to clear the poison. Plus, the internal and external injuries on the three of them need to be treated too. When my predecessor abused them, it triggered a mental berserker state. They were hurt even worse because of that. It's my responsibility to heal them. Only then can we truly be even with each other. I know the way. I'll take you there, my wife. Ye ran at an incredible speed. My reflex was to hold on to him tight. Holding on to fox fur feels completely different from holding on to a snake body. It's just so comfortable. He's so beautiful. And so soft. And he even has a faint, pleasant scent. I felt as if I had been captured. I couldn't help but reach out and stroke Huading's fur. His body suddenly shuddered. He stopped deep in the forest. In a low, husky voice, he asked, my wife, what are you touching? My scalp tingled, and I said, nothing. It's nothing. Don't get the wrong idea. I just accidentally grabbed your fur. I didn't dare to move anymore. I didn't even dare to keep my hands on Harlong's fur. As great as it felt, I still wanted to stay alive. Praying, sense that something was off with me, and instantly shifted back into his human form. He pulled me into his arms in one swift motion, then gently set me down on the ground. What's wrong, my wife? He looked down at me. His voice lowered, soft and gentle. I kept my head down, staring at my toes. I whispered, explaining, I didn't mean to pull on your fox fur. It's just, you were running so fast. If I hadn't grabbed on, I would have fallen off. I wouldn't dare admit that I was petting him. What? Lingye just looked down at me like this. His voice became even softer. It's fine. You can grab on however you like. Oh, I froze, then looked up to meet his gaze. There was no coldness there, only gentleness. We wasn't planning on getting back at me here. I let out a sigh of relief. Okay. Lanya transformed back into his beast form. He curled his tail around me and placed me on his back. Just as we were about to set off, I suddenly caught sight of a tree nearby. Wait, put me down for a second. I ran over to take a closer look. My heart started racing. This is wheat. The stalks were thicker and taller than the ones at the Mo household.
They were covered in big, golden, yellow grains. Foying Yao walked over. What is it?
This is food. It's called wheat. I shared my excitement with him, though what Longye didn't quite understand. But he asked, do you need me to harvest these for you? Yes. Cut the whole thing down. The stalks can still be used for firewood or weaving. Harvesting the wheat. I was looking at Longye with much more favor now. If he hadn't led the way, I never would have discovered this. Now I can finally make some flour-based foods. Longye quickly helped me cut down the wheat stalks. I stored them directly into my spatial storage. He paused for a moment.
A spatial ability?
I nodded. A flash of surprise crossed his eyes, but he didn't say anything more. Wife, do you need anything else? Let me look around and see if there's any more of this wheat nearby. My spatial system told me there wasn't any within 100 miles. I'm a bit disappointed. Wulingai transformed into his true form, leaped high into the air, and used his tiger eye vision to spot another one. Let me take you there. My eyes lit up. He brought me over and cut it down. I tucked it away into my space. Suddenly the space system sounded all excited. Host, 60 meters to the right, there's cabbage. I turned to look. A whole patch of cabbage. Even though they were normal sized, it was more than enough. With cabbage, we can make dumplings and pot stickers. I excitedly pulled out my knife to start digging, but Hulingai walked over. Let me do it. You just rest nearby, my wife. Seeing how excited I was, he knew this plant had to be something special. My eyes crinkled, and I said with a smile, "It's fine. Let's dig together."
This is cabbage.
With wheat and cabbage. We can make pork and cabbage dumplings.
We can make steamed buns or just stir fry it.
We can even pickle the cabbage for sauerkraut.
When the snowy season hits and we can't go out to hunt,
We can stir fry the sauerkraut with cured meat. And I need to smoke the meat ahead of time too.
Hu and Nai's expression shifted.
So it really was food. He started digging even faster. In no time, the whole patch was cleared.
I tucked it all into my space.
Thanks a lot. I'll make you all something delicious tonight.
Uenga's eyes sparkled.
There's no need to thank me, my wife. It is my honor to eat the food you make. I didn't take it to heart. This guy is just too good at charming people. Let's head to where the medicinal herbs are next.
Hulingai shifted into his true form, carried me on his back, and headed deep into the mountain forest. An hour later, we arrived at a valley.
A rich herbal fragrance hit us in the face.
The valley was filled with all sorts of medicinal herbs. Hulingai warned, "Be careful. Some of these herbs are poisonous."
A beast broke in earlier and got poisoned on the spot.
I nodded, feeling relieved. I used a tree branch to carefully dig for medicinal herbs with my ancient blade, especially when I saw the key ingredients that could cure the toxins in my body. Once the poison is cleared, my face will finally return to normal. As I kept digging, a cold, mocking laughter suddenly drifted through the air. I went on full alert immediately. I scanned my surroundings, but I couldn't find a thing. System, did you detect anything? Host, I haven't picked up anything. Wait, the herb by your feet is poisonous. Don't touch it. The cold voice was laced with killing intent. My focus sharpened. It could be those 5 husbands from Showang City. They must have sent someone to kill me. The system sounded nervous. Host, I have enough energy to protect you.
It's fine. If all else fails, I'll just use that method to boost my strength quickly.
Forcibly swallowing the aura of surrounding plants can boost my abilities. But my body won't handle the strain. I'll either explode or be left weak for a long time. The system panicked.
You can't. That's only for life or death situations.
Isn't this exactly that? The system tried to comfort me. Host, don't be afraid. The 9-tailed fox husband left fox fur out here infused with soul power. If you're in danger, he'll sense it and come back. I replied coldly.
They probably want me dead, don't they?
I'm not expecting them to come back and protect me. The moment the words left my lips, a piercing shriek of laughter echoed in the sky. A giant black bird with a razor-sharp beak dove toward me. The first strike was blocked by a red glow surrounding my body. It was the barrier for the fox fur. Ulengain. He really didn't want me to die. After being blocked, the giant board dove again. I gathered my energy. One hand gripped my ancient blade. The other began absorbing the aura from the plants around me. My blood began to churn. Just at that moment, a flaming arrow pierced straight through the giant bird. Hulingai landed right in front of me. His 9 tails wrapped around me in a protective stance. He really did come back. He didn't say a word, just dived straight into the fight. 2 more appeared in the sky. The giant birds launched a frenzied attack. The giant birds are attacking like crazy. Forlongye is shielding me while bending his bow to fire back. One of the birds suddenly morphs into human form, screeching, "Holangye's body is poisoned by the fire toxin!" He's forcing his magical weapon to fight us. His spirit sea is going berserk. If he doesn't die, he'll be crippled for life. And all this just to protect such a wicked female? It's not worth it. Our master possesses a secret technique to break the master-servant soul contract. If he dies, you don't have to die with him. Just cooperate with us, and our master will give you this secret technique. Hearing this, my face turned pale. I began absorbing the natural energy into my palms as fast as I could. Forcing my abilities to upgrade takes time. I couldn't afford to stake my safety on someone else's word. Fulingye gave a wild, untamed grin. "She is my wife," he declared. "I will never allow anyone to hurt her." He forcefully drew his magical weapon, channeling every ounce of his power. Standing behind him, I could feel the searing heat of the flames engulfing his body. With a swift motion, he let fly 3 arrows, striking the giant birds directly. One of the arrows suddenly veered off course, hitting the bird that had spoken. It stared at Fualongye in utter disbelief. You're digging your own grave." Its eyes widened as it plummeted from the sky, consumed by flames until it vanished. The other 2 birds were dead as well. "Hello, in your turn. Back to look at me," checking me over carefully to see if I was hurt. "Is anything wrong? Do you feel unwell anywhere?" I shook my head. "I'm fine." But then I saw his fox-like eyes glowing a deep blood red, and his body began to tremble. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. Hualongye, what's wrong with you?" He could barely keep his human form. His body began to transform into that of a fox as he collapsed to the ground. Don't come near me. I might hurt you. Run, just run." Seeing him like this, my heart was deeply moved. He disregarded his own safety to save me. I couldn't just abandon him. "I'm not running.
and I'm not leaving. You're in this state because you were saving me. I won't let anything happen to you. Holengye still had a sliver of reason left. His fox eyes flickered with emotion. I stepped forward and placed my hands on his head, channeling my healing abilities into his body. Moments later, he lost consciousness. I drifted into the sea of his consciousness. I saw a young red fox cub, 5 or 6 years old, just beat him to death. He and his father both deserved to die. Covered in that pathetic, lowly red foxter. What an absolute disgrace. A crowd of people were kicking and punching him. Yet, he didn't make a single sound. He just shielded something tucked inside his arms. When they grew tired of hitting him, they left. Limping, he returned to a dilapidated courtyard and shifted back into human form. He wiped the dirt from his face, then went inside to boil water and brew medicine. Once it was ready, he walked to the bedside. Father, it's time to get up and take your medicine. The figure on the bed was shrouded in mist. Lingye, did they hit you again?
嫁化灵液传世哥的好，玉修好了。
Father, I'm really fine. Drink your medicine first. Once you drink it, you'll be better, Lingye. If one day, Father is no longer here, you must find a way to keep living. Father!
Don't say things like that.
We cannot live without you. His voice was choked with sobs and trembling. The person on the bed gently stroked his hair and let out a long, weary sigh. The scene suddenly shifts. On a snowy day, Halingyi's father fell deathly ill. Pelling knelt and begged the family head to send for a shaman. He wasn't even allowed to see him. He was kept out by the guards. He knelt there for a long time, even covered in wounds. It was all for nothing. His father died in the snow. He returned to the courtyard, sobbing in suppressed agony, only to be cursed at and beaten again. You little wretch. You and your father both deserve to die. The family head doesn't even acknowledge your existence. Watching these memories unfold, my heart aches so painfully. He was just a child when he went through all of this. I want to rush in and protect him. There was a barrier, keeping everything out. It wasn't until this very moment that I finally broke through it. I walked over to him, knelt down, and carefully lifted him into my arms. It's okay. Everything is going to be okay from now on. I poured every bit of my Mosi supernatural energy into his body. After Hulingyi fell into a state of berserk rage, his mind was trapped in the memories of his youth. His whole body was in agony. He couldn't save his father, and time again, he wanted to die alongside him. Yet, he remembered his father's words. He had to keep living. Just when he was lost in total despair, the beam of light appeared in the courtyard. A woman stepped out from the light, as beautiful and ethereal as an orchid in a hidden valley. She smiled at him, bright and warm, just like the sunshine. Her presence felt so comforting that he couldn't help but want to get closer. You're doing great. Don't listen to what those people say. I hugged him tightly, as waves of warm light poured into him, wrapping him in a gentle embrace. His shattered mental sea began to heal, little by little. The wind and snow faded away, replaced by the soothing warmth of the sun. Inside his mind, his consciousness shifted into his adult form. He looked at me, and his mental manifestation, a 9-tailed celestial fox, instinctively wound around me, pulling me into a tight embrace. The fox's tail seemed to curl up from my legs, wrapping higher and higher. His fox-like eyes were filled with a seductive, bewitching intensity. A sudden, sharp electric tingle shot through my entire body. I couldn't handle it. Its intense, dizzying sensation left me completely defenseless. Hulingyi's eyes curled slightly, his gaze burning with an extreme, desperate craving. All 9 tails of his mental form coiled around me, yet he was careful not to cause me any pain. You smell so good. His voice was incredibly alluring.
Volinier, wake up.
I tried to dodge quickly. Didn't you say you hated me? Look at me. Do you know who I am? I shouted at him, but it was completely useless. No, don't bite. His head dropped against my neck. His warm breath washed over me. My whole body just went limp instantly. Holingyi. I whispered his name, but my voice sounded so soft and delicate, like I was flirting with him. No, that wasn't even my voice. I clamped my mouth shut immediately. If this keeps going on, he might just devour me whole inside his mental sea. I channeled my psychic energy again to soothe him, and only when his eyes finally calmed down did I quickly pull my consciousness out of his mental sea. I drained way too much energy. My legs gave out, and I stumbled. Holingyi regained his human form after waking up, and immediately caught me in his arms. Be careful. My wife. He looked down at me, his gaze now carrying a soft, tender light. I gently pushed against his chest, but the moment my palms felt the solid strength of his abs, I pulled my hands back as if I'd been burned. Multi-wide you to start me. Can you let me go first? Suddenly, the system spoke up in my head. Host, let him hold you. I've managed to upgrade the space a little bit. The farmland has doubled in size. It's 1 acre now, and a small well has appeared. And spiritual spring water. This water can strengthen your body, detoxify your system, and refine your essence. It even helps recover your psychic energy. I scanned the space with my mind, and sure enough, I saw the spring. But there isn't much left, the system added. As long as you and your husband are intimate, the spring water will keep increasing. Kulonu slowly released me, his eyes still lingering on me with obsession. I let out a breath and asked, "How are you feeling now?"
Are you better? I'm better. But what's the deal with the fire poison in your body? When I was channeling my energy, I felt that aggressive, burning poison.
化为雅丽的是款神，成必的。
It was planted in me when I was a child. You mean the Shu family? I knew he came from the Shu family in the Imperial City. He's the son of the Shu family. Head. But his last name isn't Shu.
Right. All just to keep me under their thumb.
I let out a sigh, lost in my own thoughts.
I'm so sorry. Back then, because of me, you were forced to marry into this family as a live-in husband. You've had it so rough. The original owner of this body once saw the Shu family's heir. That man who was like a gentle breeze and bright moon. A banquet.
She used her family background to bully the Zeus into a marriage.
The Schiff family was backed into a corner.
So they sent for Linge, who was never favored, to marry her. The original owner took all her rage out on him, and he just took it all, without a word.
Hulingye's fingers were so gentle as he smoothed back the hair the wind had messed up. It's not your fault.
Besides, leaving the Shu family was actually a good choice for me back then. Fire poison was planted in me a long, long time ago.
Just as he finished speaking, he suddenly froze, a look of shock on his face. The fire poison. It's been suppressed.
And it's even been neutralized a little bit. He stared at me, completely stunned. I looked him in the eye and said earnestly, "Don't worry. Once my abilities get stronger, I'll be able to completely purge the fire poison from your system. For now,
I can only help you get rid of it, little by little. But I promise I can keep it suppressed for you."
my gaze was clear and sincere, and I meant every word.
I genuinely wanted to save Fa Ling for this agony.
Holingyang couldn't help himself. He reached out and pulled me into a hug again. This time, much tighter.
It felt like he wanted to crush me into his very heart. My heart skipped a beat. He's not about to go crazy again, is he?
Thank you. Thank you.
His voice was raspy. His fox-like eyes was stained with a thin, bewitching, wild shade of red. In the past, every time the poison flared up, it was never this easy to suppress, let alone actually getting rid of some of it. This is already a miracle. I sighed inwardly. The original girl did so many wicked things. The three of them stayed by her side, each with their own reasons, each with no other choice. I will heal their bodies. And then, I'll set them free. One day, the fire poison will be completely gone. Feeling him still holding on tight, refusing to let go, I whispered softly, "It's getting late. Let's grab a bite to eat first. We'll pick some herbs this afternoon and head home early. I still want to get the wheat ground into flour as soon as I can." Only then did Hua Ling reluctantly let me go. "All right, eat something first." "Eat something first." "Please wait a moment, benefactor." I managed to hunt 2 wild pheasants. He sensed that I was in danger just now. He dropped the pheasants and rushed back. When I heard pheasants, my eyes lit up.
Then we'll have pheasant later. He flashed a stunning, charming smile.
All right, with that, he carried me over quickly to grab the birds. Wow, these pheasants are actually quite large. They're a good 1.5 times bigger than the ones raised by the Mo family.
Wild pheasant meat is much firmer and tastier too.
Wai Lingyi was taken aback for a moment.
My wife, you used to complain that wild pheasants were too small and didn't taste good.
My eyelashes flowed. That was in the past. I think pheasant tastes great now.
His gaze turned tender. If my wife likes them, I'll hunt them for you often from now on. I'll all eat together. From now on, whatever wild game you hunt, I'll cook it all into delicious meals for you. I looked around the area. Did you catch them around here? Then there might be pheasant eggs nearby. If we can hatch them, we could raise a few in the yard. For Langyi replied, "I'll go take a look. Let's look together." We walked around for a bit. Suddenly, the space system buzzed with excitement. "Master, walk 100 meters forward. There are wild pheasant eggs in the grass under the tree." I hurried over. Sure enough, I found the eggs hidden in the grass. Alanya looked moved. "There really are eggs." I beamed with joy. "There are 15 of them." I observed them carefully. Indirected, these can all be used to hatch chicks. Let's take these back first. We can hatch them into chicks at home using these eggs. I explained. As long as the temperature is high enough, you can hatch chicks from these eggs. I carefully placed the eggs inside, into the space. Hua Lingye and I found a spot by the stream, ready to clean the pheasants. So took the initiative. Let me handle it. My wife, just wait for a little while over there. He moved with remarkable efficiency. Once everything was prepped, I spoke up. Let's make beggar's chicken to eat. I pulled the mushrooms we gathered yesterday from my dimensional storage. I stuffed the scallions and ginger right into the chicken's cavity. After rubbing on the seasonings, we wrapped it all up in lotus leaves. Then, we coated the outside with a thick layer of mud. This was the first time Hua Lingye had ever seen this method. He found it fascinating. He followed my instructions, step by step. Once it was ready, he used his fire element ability to roast the food. As it cooked, an incredibly rich, mouth-watering aroma began to spread. He was usually used to skipping lunch, but now,
His appetite had been completely awakened. When it was done, Hualingya did as I said and cracked open the mud shell. The chicken was still steaming hot. I could smell that savory scent, and my stomach was growling with hunger. I stared at the beggar's chicken with wide, eager eyes. Hualingya looked over at me.
His gaze was tender as he softened his voice. Just a moment longer.
Ignoring the heat, he didn't care about burning his hands. He used a small knife to slice the meat and placed it onto the lotus leaves. Using his abilities to control the temperature, he wrapped it up carefully and handed it to me. The temperature was just right. It was ready to eat.
Hualingya was looking at me now.
His eyes were filled with a soft, puppy-like gentleness. He was so attentive and careful while taking care of me during our meal. I took it and bit into a piece. The flavor exploded in my mouth. Absolutely divine. It was so good.
Pure natural ingredients really are the most delicious.
It even had the faint, fresh fragrance of the lotus leaves.
Haling was even more focused now, slicing the rest of the chicken.
He cut it into bite-sized pieces to make it easy for me to eat.
After a few bites, I looked at him and said, "You eat too."
It's fine. I'm not hungry. My wife should eat first. He was worried that 2 chickens wouldn't be enough for me.
Let's eat together. I can't eat that much. It would be a waste.
We roasted 2, didn't we?
When Hualingya looked down at me, his eyes turned deep and intense.
I looked up and met those fox-like eyes of his. What is it? Is there something on my face? I reached up to touch my face. Then I subconsciously flicked my tongue across my lower lip.
There's nothing there, right?
His dark eyes dimmed. His Adam's apple bobbed as he swallowed hard.
Don't move. It's nothing.
Then, he reached out with his slender fingers and gently wiped a crumb from the corner of my mouth. As his fingertips brushed against my lips, a sudden, tingling sensation shot straight to my heart. I skipped a beat. His Adam's apple bobbed, and his voice sounded strained. There, that's better. His fingers lingered, as if he were reluctant to pull away. I steadied myself, reminding myself he's only being nice because of the fire toxin, and that deep down, he still hates me. Just like that.
The ripples that had stirred in my heart instantly calmed.
You should eat something too. If you only eat twice a day, you won't have any strength.
Uni gave me a complicated look.
And said in a hoarse voice, I actually have plenty of strength. I'm very capable. I blinked, not really catching his drift. The tips of his ears turned slightly red, and his Adam's apple kept moving. I sighed, thinking he was just too shy to eat.
I picked up 2 pieces and shoved them into his mouth. How is it? Is it good?
I smiled. It's delicious. It's the best thing I've ever eaten.
I laughed and said, as long as you like it.
Next time you go hunting, if you catch a pheasant, you can cook it this way too. It's really simple. That wouldn't do. Any prey we hunt must be brought back for our wife to eat first. After he finished, he used a golden cloth dipped in water to wipe my fingers clean, one by one. I wasn't really used to that. I know I'd do this. I can just go to the river and wash them myself. He paused, then said, all right. After I washed my hands, he took out a clean golden cloth again to dry them for me. Once everything was packed away, I started digging for medicinal herbs. Hoarding you wanted to help. I politely declined, saying, you don't understand how toxic those are. Let me do it. He could only stay by my side, guarding the herbs I'd gathered. It's getting late. Let's head home.
Hulanai transformed into his fox form.
He used his tail to carefully curl around me. Then I climbed onto his back, and we traveled for a while. I sat perfectly still, making sure not to touch him. He whispered, wife, you can hold on tighter. Otherwise, you might fall off. That's when I finally reached out and hugged him. His fox fur felt so incredibly soft, and it had this faint, pleasant scent. I really wanted to touch his ears and his tail, but remembering how much they hate that, I held myself back, never realizing that the moment I hugged him, Huongyai nearly lost his footing. His body started to tremble. He began running faster and faster, afraid I would fall off. I had no choice but to hug him even tighter. When we got home, Wenansi and Sauhan had already returned with their hunt. The moment Wenansi saw me hugging Huongyai so tightly, his eyes darkened. He quickly stepped forward and naturally lifted me down from Huongyai's back. You're back, wife. I felt the cool touch of Wenansi's skin. It felt so good. I had almost been scorched by the intense heat radiating from Huongyai. Are you tired, wife? Wenansi gently brushed my hair aside. His gaze, however, seemed to carry a hint of restrained longing. I snapped out of it and shook my head, saying, I'm fine. This little bit of work couldn't tire me out. As I spoke, I stepped back slightly, awaiting Wenansi's touch. A flash of melancholy and disappointment appeared in his eyes. I kept my head clear and stayed rational, starting to sort through the herbs. I spread out the herbs I'd gathered in the yard to let them dry. Later, I can use them to make medicinal sachets. The sweet potato starch has finished settling again. Wenansi walked over and asked, wife, is there anything you need me to do? You need to drain the water off the top, leaving only the sweet potato starch at the bottom. Using his ability, he drained all the water out of the vat. I started thinking about Hulanye's fire abilities. I turned my head to look at him. Our eyes locked, and I was met with his mesmerizing gaze. He walked over quickly. My wife,
Is there anything you need my help with? Could you dry out this starch for me?
Use a gentle flame.
Like, just enough to dry it out, you know?
He nodded with a smile. After a quick process, he turned back to me. My wife,
Is this okay?
I reached out to touch it. I smiled and said, yeah, it's perfect. Tonight, I'm going to make you all sweet potato starch noodles. Xia Jihan washed wet Nanshi and Hualingye hovering around me. A strange look flickered in his eyes. That evening, I made pork rib and fishball soup, braised pork belly with cabbage, and those sweet potato starch noodles. We all sat down to eat. Every dish turned out delicious. When Nashi looked at my hand, his expression full of concern. The food you make is incredible, my wife. But from now on, you just need to say the word and let us handle the cooking. Look, your palm is burnt. It must hurt so much you got splashed by the oil while frying. I didn't think much of it. It's fine, really. This little burn doesn't hurt at all. Besides, when I was cooking, everyone helped out. For some reason, they could all sense a subtle change in my aura. He could even pick up on such a tiny thing. After dinner, everyone busied themselves with clearing the dishes. I went out to the courtyard to work on some medicinal herbs. Wen Lenyu was the first to rush over. My wife, what do you need done? Let me handle it. It's okay. I can do it myself. He apologized, looking so cautious and careful. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that during dinner. It's not your fault. Are you mad at me, my wife? No, I'm not mad. I replied as calmly as I could, but he still felt like I'd put up a wall around myself. Halingye was wandering around the yard, looking for something to do. When he couldn't find anything, he just grabbed a rag and started wiping down the door frames. I kept on working for a while. I made 4 herbal insect repellent sachets. You haven't used these 3 yet. If you keep them by your bedside at night, you won't get bitten by any bugs. Wayne Nelibes looked at me with a complex expression and thanked his wife. No need to thank me. You all work so hard to take care of me every day, even risking your lives to go hunting. What I've done is nothing compared to that. As your husbands, it's our duty to take care of you, our wife. I offered a faint smile. You're all so good to me. And as your wife, I want to be good to you too. Taking care of each other goes both ways. There's no such thing as duty or obligation between us. I just hope you'll remember this little thing I did for you. A shadow flickered in the depths of Wen Nanchi's eyes. He must have figured it out. I was worried they might try to hurt me. When I went to bed that night, I was tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep. Suddenly, I caught a whiff of a familiar, subtle fragrance. I opened my eyes and saw a fiery red fox sitting by my bed.
Oh, Lilie, what are you doing here?
In the middle of the night? Didn't you all try to avoid me like the plague? I stared at the red fox by my bed. My body shuddered. Instinctively, I sat up and scrambled backward toward the head of the bed. I didn't stop until my back hit the wall. A flash of hurt crossed the fox's eyes. Do you really see me as some kind of monster? He slowly crept closer. He leaned down to look at me. His voice was smooth, deep, and incredibly alluring. I'm my wife's husband. I was worried about you. I just wanted to keep watch for you through the night. I gave him a strange, bewildered look. According to the memories of my predecessor, this had never happened before. Aren't you afraid of what I might do to you in the middle of the night? What if I used some kind of love potion on you? What would you do then? I thought that would scare him off. But to my surprise, his foxy eyes lit up with anticipation instead. He leaned in even closer to me. Surya teased provocatively. Actually, my lady, you don't need to use any potions. I am already yours, body and soul. I was shocked, my eyes widening in disbelief. I quickly grabbed the animal hide nearby to wrap myself up, stuttering, I'm not feeling well right now. I can't. I really can't. Lingyi watched my reaction, his throat bobbing as he suppressed his desires. He leaned close to my ear and whispered softly, My lady, don't be afraid. Without your permission, I won't do anything. I'm only worried that a mutated beast might show up, so I'll stay here to stand guard, my lady. That way, you can sleep in peace. I looked up and saw the sincere expression on his face. I looked at him with understanding and said, Then I'll leave the guard duty to you. Thank you for your hard work. It's better to have someone keeping watch anyway. Besides, given what the original host of this body used to be like, it would be a miracle if anyone were actually interested in me. I lay down, feeling at ease, and fell asleep before long. In my dreams, I vaguely felt a warm, gentle touch wrapping softly around me. Then, it felt so comfortable. I don't know how much time had passed, when a cool, refreshing chill suddenly filled the room. In my hazy state, I heard a low, muffled voice. Wen Nanchi, what are you doing here? That's a question I should be asking you. Why aren't you sleeping in the middle of the night, coming here instead? It was the voices of Hualingye and Wen Nanchi. I was still half asleep and disoriented. I only heard Hualingye's lazy, languid voice. As a husband, it's only natural for me to accompany my lady. According to the rules, tonight, she belongs to me. Isn't that right? Wen Nanchi replied coldly.
What are you planning to do? Helloing curled his lips into a smile. I'm not doing anything. I just want to offer myself to my lady.
When Nanyes fell silent for a moment,
Then his voice dropped, turning grave. What happened in the forest today? Did you force her to do something? Did you use your charm to bewitch her? And make her stay with you?
Ling Yang's tone also darkened. When Nancy,
She is my lady. Whatever I do with her, I don't need to report to you.
霍林业，以许正闹和。
Then stop provoking her. Don't even think about hurting him. Not even a little. I just want to protect him. Wenasi, what's wrong with you tonight?
Wenlanchi remained silent for a moment. Her voice is cold and detached.
What he said when he gave us those insect repellent sachets.
Didn't you hear it?
He doesn't trust us. He thinks we're going to hurt him. I don't know what to say to that, but I can swear that I will never, ever hurt him.
And I will never let anyone else touch a hair on his head.
灰良宁愿的一些束缚着。
我哪写？
What nonsense are you spouting? How could I ever hurt our wife?
Wenmanzi's voice is ice cold. Then what were you trying to do while he was asleep just now?
霍林业 blesses.
I just wanted to hold him. I didn't mean anything else by it. He pauses. Then his eyes narrow.
Wait a minute, Wenlanci.
Something is wrong with you. In the past, you never reacted like this when we got close to our wife.
Come now. Every time I get near him,
You're suddenly so unhappy about it?
don't you hate our wife too?
Wait on that she splash and shiz. He's different now. Zolak Mean's voice drops.
So you've noticed he's not the same as before either.
Our wife was able to suppress the fire poison for me. It even managed to neutralize a portion of it. I still find it hard to believe. He's become so incredible.
So how could I ever bring myself to hurt him?
Wenashi. He isn't just your wife alone anymore.
I'm going to protect him with everything I have too.
After a long silence,
问那些臂膀算得见，买情坚而慎价，死头还粉如痛。
They possess secret techniques that can override our marriage contracts.
plus, there are people from the Imperial City out there. They might try to do something to him. We need to be fully prepared. Hoang Nangya's expression darkens as well. 3 assassins came into the woods today, trying to kill him. They were subordinates of Jiao Mokwan. Renatsi's voice turns chilling.
找杨莫川，华林市。
Jiao Mokwan is the most famous figure in the entire Imperial City. Kaka! Back then, my wife did so many insane things for him. They say that even a single day of marriage builds 100 days of grace.
Who would have thought he actually sent hitmen to kill his own wife?
What a cold-blooded heart. Everything started to blur as the voices grew fainter. I drifted into a deep sleep,
But at least I knew those two were no longer a threat to me.
I woke up early the next morning. Xiao Gian was waiting at the door, ready to help me wash up. I felt a bit helpless. I had no choice but to call Wen Nanxi and Hua Lingyi over. From now on, I can handle getting my own water and washing up.
You don't need to baby me like this.
Xiao Jian's face went slightly pale. He lowered his head, out of habit. I'm sorry. I haven't been taking good care of you.
It's all my fault.
Please, punish me, my lady. I quickly explained.
No, that's not it.
You don't have to be like this. And there's no need to apologize. I'm not going to punish you. It's just, I'm not used to it, that's all. Just go do whatever you need to get done. Shao Jihan and the other two stood there, completely stunned. I didn't pay them any more mind. After washing up, I started making breakfast. They all jumped in to help. Once we finished eating,
还没咽完烂气，黑得要火的汗。
Zhao Weihan stay behind to look after me.
Heling looked at me and said,
My lady, if you happen to go into the woods,
please, you must watch your step and stay safe. I'm not heading to the woods today. There's still plenty to do around the house.
so I'll just stay here.
Hearing that, they seemed to relax a little.
Oh, right. Lingyi.
Have brewed some medicine. Drink it before you head out to hunt. It's to suppress the fire toxin. If you take it morning and night, it'll be cut in half within a month. Hu Longying's fox-like eyes shimmered with emotion. My lady, you're just too good to me. I couldn't handle that look in his eyes. You guys did your best to protect me on the road during our exile. It's only right that I treat you well in return. As long as your bodies are healthy, you'll be able to protect me even better over these next 3 months. Hearing the words, 3 months. Honir's eyes darkened. I used a clay pot to brew medicine, and had Wolingye use his fire control ability to manage the heat. When Nanchi went out to hunt first, Xiao Jihan started tidying up the house. Didn't stop for a second, boiling water and chopping firewood. While controlling the flames, Holangye couldn't help but glance at me. At that moment, I was using hay to make a nest for the eggs, trying to keep them nice and warm. I put the wild eggs in to hatch the chicks. Wife, the insect repellent sachets you gave us last night were truly amazing. We hung them by the head of the bed, and there wasn't a single mosquito or bug in the room all night. Before, back in the tribe,
Even the repellent pouches bought at the city market didn't work at all.
my depression shifted as soon as I heard that. Helingya explained in a gentle voice. The marketplace.
The North Han city, which is closest to our tribe, holds a market once a month.
People from nearby tribes all bring their goods there to trade. I'm using gold coins. Others use a barter system. How much do those insect repellent pouches cost at the market?
I heard one pouch cost 100 bronze coins.
My expression changed instantly. 100?
A full pound of beast meat is only 20 bronze coins.
Felingyo nodded. Medicinal herbs are quite expensive. Even a small box of hemostatic powder costs 500 bronze coins.
My eyes lit up.
Then, couldn't I just make insect repellent and hemostatic powder to sell at the market?
If I earn enough gold coins, I can buy plenty of daily necessities.
Clay pots, salt.
I could even find a blacksmith to forge an iron pot. Where's the next market day? In half a month. I knew what to do now. I could prepare so many things in these next 2 weeks.
Do they sell food at the market too?
Yes. Beastmen from various tribes usually spend the whole day there, so naturally, there are food vendors. Even the beastmen living inside the city walls come to browse. Because during market days, the variety of goods is the greatest, and the prices are the cheapest.
I gave a slight nod.
I was already planning to sell those medicine packets first to earn some gold.
And then, I'd craft an oven and a frying pan.
Cornmeal is cheap, you know.
People don't like it, only because they don't know how to cook it right.
I can make cornmeal buns and sell those instead. The medicine for Huling Yang was finally ready.
I reached out to help him pour it.
But he rushed to do it himself.
Be careful, it's hot. I warned, but he insisted. I'm not afraid of the heat.
Let me do it myself.
That'll work. Shijian watched us laughing and chatting together.
His eyes were filled with nothing but disdain and disgust.
For like in court brewed medicine out.
The liquid was still steaming. He went off to dispose of the dregs first
And scrubbed the medicine pot clean.
Once everything was squared away, he came back to drink his medicine.
His expression remained calm as he drank. He downed the whole bowl in one go.
He didn't even flinch. I knew exactly how bitter that medicine was. I pulled a few rock candies out from my storage space. I reached out, and he instinctively put out his hand. I placed the candy right into his palm.
Here, keep this in your mouth and let it melt.
It'll take away that bitter medicine taste.
He popped the candy into his mouth.
A flash of surprise crossed Mei Yui's eyes. It's very sweet. I smiled and said, "See? Now it's not bitter anymore."
Felingya was deeply moved.
His fox-like eyes welled up with a mist of tears. My wife is truly so kind. I gave a faint smile. In 3 months, he'll regain his freedom.
Surely, he won't try to harm me then, right?
He lowered his voice, his tone husky. My wife, can you always be like this from now on? Please, don't ever go back to how you were before, okay? Just as I was about to answer, a sharp pain stung my palm. He was gripping my hand with all his might. His eyes were filled with panic. My wife, you will always be here, right? I nodded with a smile. Don't worry. I won't go back to the way I was. That's just who I am. Only then did he feel at ease. After drinking the medicine, he left reluctantly to hunt in Huling Valley. Once he was gone, I took the weed out from my storage space, peeling and checking it every now and then.
叫句韩文的泰雅夫买好，不拟定得的细饼。
Every time he turned to look at me, I hurriedly lowered my head and pretended to be busy with work. After a few times, he spoke in a low voice. Wife, is there something on your mind? No, it's just that I've already finished piling everything up, and I'm not sure what else needs to be done. Please, wife, just give me your instructions. I looked up at his earnest expression and said, all this wheat needs to have the grains peeled off and dried in the sun. Then it can be made into food. All right, I'll take care of it. I gave him a friendly smile. Then I'll leave the hard work to you. I instinctively stepped aside to keep some distance between us. He used his supernatural abilities to control the process. The wheat grains quickly separated. They all poured neatly into the wooden bucket nearby. I watched in surprise and said, "Thank you. This is just what I should be doing." I poured the wheat grains out to dry in the sun. I was just thinking about going to the mill in the afternoon to grind them into flour and making something with noodles for dinner. Suddenly, a cold, icy voice came from the doorway. I looked up. Standing there was Mei Qingshan, a man in black robes of peerless grace. My expression shifted instantly. Through the memories of the original body, I knew exactly who this was. Mei Qingshan, the heir to the Nether Black Beast Mei family. The original owner was so obsessed with his beauty, she would even go on hunger strikes just to make him hers. The speech system wore me tensely. Host, be careful! The original owner threw Mei Qingshan's life-bound sword into the death cliff. He has come back this time specifically to kill you. My mouth twitched. The original owner really knew how to dig her own grave. Mei Qingshan looked at me with extreme disgust. His entire body was shrouded in black mist. His overwhelming pressure was stifling. He drew a sword. The blade was broken and decaying, ravaged by black, cursed energy. I'm sure, my dear wife, you must find this sword quite familiar, don't you? My mouth twitched. In sheer terror. It seems our mistress remembers everything, doesn't she? Then let's settle our old scores once and for all. I tried to duck into the dimensional space,
but I couldn't get in. The system says Mei Qingshan has locked this place down.
小许愿3的李师点分到米。买清晨
Calm down. She is our mistress. Mei Qingshan froze for a moment. A mistress in name only, nothing more.
Xiao Jihan, are you really going to stand in my way?
Zhao Wenhan didn't budge an inch.
Ice condensed into a blade in his hand, aimed straight at Mei Qingshan.
You want to hurt her? You'll have to kill me first. Xiao Jian, don't forget what he did to all of us before. Keeping him alive is just inviting disaster. Watching the two of them in this standoff, I spoke up.
Mei Qingshan! As long as you don't make a move, as long as you don't kill me, I can dissolve our relationship.
His gaze turned sharp as an arrow. You've said things like that before. Do you really think I'd fall for that again? I paused, stunned. A flood of memories surged into my mind.
Trick her 5 husbands into protecting her on the journey of exile.
The original owner really did promise to dissolve the relationship once they reached the tribe. Should put on such a good act.
Only to throw their weapons away the moment they let their guard down. Oh my god. I want to cover my face and hide in a hole somewhere.
Looking at his expression. He is truly out for blood, if not for his hesitation.
沙季汉，吾的敖日朝之代。
Xiao Jihan stayed firmly planted in front of me.
埋青天 no matter what.
I won't let you hurt our mistress. If you want to fight, then let's fight.
I hurriedly shouted.
Mei Qingshan, this time. What I'm saying is different from before. Before I could finish, a surge of sword energy, laced with spiritual power, came crashing toward me with lethal force.
Xiao Jihan instantly used his weapon to block the fatal strike.
As their immense powers collided, dust billowed into the air.
The two of them began to fight in a blur.
They were so fast.
All I could see were after images. The walls were shredded by the blast of sword energy.
The attack system gasped in awe.
Host!
These two are both insanely strong.
If you conquer them, your power level will skyrocket. I felt my mouth twitch in annoyance. Do you really think that's possible? You can totally win them over, Host.
I reached up and touched the side of my face, the one that was scarred.
I don't have my beauty to rely on anymore, but you're still gorgeous on the outside, and your inner beauty is even better.
My temples started throbbing uncontrollably.
System, hurry up and find a way to stop them. If they keep fighting, this whole estate is going to collapse.
The system scanned the area for a moment. Host, Mei Qingshan's sword has been corrupted by dark energy.
Your ability can heal it. You can use that as leverage to make a deal.
He won't kill you then.
I let out a long breath of relief. I shouted at the top of my lungs.
Mei Qingshan!
I can fix that sword. If I can't repair it, you can kill me then. It won't be too late. I promise, it's the truth. You can let me try it right now.
Mei Qingshan paused his attack.
He glared at me with suspicious eyes. His voice was ice cold. You just said you could fix this sword?
The weight in my chest finally lifted. Yes,
I can fix it. You can let me give it a try first. And if I can't do it, you can still kill me later. Mei Qingshan didn't believe me for a second. But that blade was his soul-bound sword.
It was everything to him.
He had risked his life a dozen times over to get it back. And after trying everything, he still couldn't fix it. There was no way he'd believe that a famous good-for-nothing like me could do it. Zhai Jian looked at me.
Just let Su Mei time.
Missing Ting let out a mocking laugh.
Zhao Yihan, it hasn't even been that long. Already starting to take her side and speak up for her?
Simo Yao, you really do have a way of wrapping men around your finger.
Sumi Yao, you've really got some tricks up your sleeve. He stared at the battered sword in his hand, which was radiating a sinister aura. He gritted his teeth and growled. Fine, I'll let you give it a shot.
I want to see exactly what kind of tricks you're planning to pull.
Even if there was just the slightest glimmer of hope, he was determined to try.
He walked toward me.
Xiao Jian had been standing right by my side the whole time, on high alert.
Mei Qingshan stopped at a distance he deemed safe from me and placed the sword down in front of me.
Go ahead, try it. In truth, I couldn't wait to be as far away from Mei Qingshan as possible. Xiao Yuan sensed my anxiety instantly. He reached out with a block, shielding me completely from that oppressive aura.
I let out a sigh of relief and whispered my terms. If I can repair it, you were not allowed to lay a hand on me again, and you cannot kill me. Of course, I also promise to give you both your freedom after 3 months. I will let you leave.
Mei Qingshan stared at the subtle expressions on my face, a flicker of confusion crossing his own.
He replied coldly. Fine, but if you can't repair it, I'll kill you right here.
Xiao Kaihan leaned down and whispered softly. Don't be afraid. Everything will be okay. I looked at him with gratitude in my eyes.
Zhao Yuhan, thank you. I have to survive this. I'll make you something delicious. Tonight?
买清晨来到了马亭了。
Well, look at that. The sun must be rising in the west today. Anything to save your own skin, right? You're really good at putting on an act. I steadied my heart and mind, focusing all my attention on the blade. As I got closer, I could almost feel the sword wailing in sorrow. I reached out and unleashed my wood element ability. A green light washed over the body of the sword,
and the dark, sinister aura began to dissipate.
My Qingshen's expression turned solemn. I poured all my energy into it with total focus, my mind seemingly drifting into the sword spirit's consciousness. The black mist scattered, and the sword stopped its mournful wailing. Just as that blurry figure began to turn around, my energy was completely drained. I coughed up a mouthful of blood. My body swayed, and I was about to collapse. Zhao Jian rushed over and caught me in his arms. "My lady, I'll take you to see the shaman," I said weakly. "I'm fine, just exhausted my energy." Ray Qingshen gave me a complicated look, then vanished like a gust of wind. Soon, he brought the shaman back. After examining me, the shaman said, "Her energy is severely depleted. Her heart is overwhelmed with anxiety, and her blood circulation is extremely poor. Moreover, there is poison in your system. This poison makes people irritable and quick-tempered. The condition of the left side of your face is caused by this very poison." Hearing this, Achahan Mechin's expressions shifted instantly. The shaman looked at me and remarked, "You're surprisingly calm, little girl. It seems you already knew." "I can only prescribe medicine to boost your blood, but I cannot cure this poison," I replied indifferently. "Thank you, Elder Shaman. I am indeed aware of it." "Fine. Play. There's no need for medicine. I just need some rest." After the shaman left, Shao Qihan whispered, "I'm sorry. I had no idea you were suffering from poison, my lady." I touched the side of my face and said, "It's fine. You don't need to blame yourself. I can handle this poison myself." Zhao Jihan's expression froze. "The royal physicians have never detected anything wrong with your body. How can that be?" I gave a faint smile. "I suppose it's because my achievements have outshone the throne. The royal family is intimidated by the power of the Su family. If I were to die, everything the Su family owns would revert to the royal family." He looked at me with a complex expression. After a moment of silence, he asked, "That poison makes one irritable and impulsive. So, were all the things you did before because of this poison?" Actually, let me answer his question first. Not entirely. I'm sorry. Everything in the past. It was all my fault. I shouldn't have treated you all that way. You were only dragged here into exile because of me. I'll change all of those bad behaviors. For these next 3 months, I will treat you all well." Held in Xiao Jian's arms, Liu Si managed to recover a little. He looked at me in his arms, earnestly. His eyes were clear and sincere. He softened his voice and said, "I will also protect you well." And at that moment, a box appeared in my space.
My Qingshen was looking at his sword.
Noticing it was halfway repaired, the black aura had already dissipated. He looked over with a complex expression. Hearing me say those words, his expression shifted. I spoke up. "My Qingzhen, this sword is only half repaired. Wait until I recover a bit more, and I'll use my ability to finish repairing it for you." He looked at my pale complexion and said in a low voice, "I keep my word. I won't lay a hand on you again." I let out a sigh of relief and managed to smile. "No matter what, throwing your sword into Death Valley before... That was my wrong. I apologize to you." I looked at Jia Yin. "You two go ahead and get busy. I need to sleep for a bit."
乔伊还在少妇。
"All right, go ahead and sleep. I'll be right here by your side." I nodded, lay down, and went into my space to check that box. "What is this?" "This is space reward you earned from your embrace with Xiao Ma. It's a high-quality material for forging artifacts, mystical spirit iron. My Qingshen sword needs this to be completely repaired. With this, he definitely won't be able to do anything to you anymore." Listening to the explanation, I understood. This mystical spirit iron appeared at just the right time. However, host, don't take it out all at once. It will cause a huge stir. I know how to handle it. I chatted with the space system for a while before finally drifting off to sleep. I woke up in the mid-afternoon, feeling completely refreshed. Mosi's strength had also recovered by half. I opened the door. Xia Jian was standing there, quietly keeping watch. "Have you been standing guard this whole time?" "How are you feeling, my wife? Is your body doing any better?" "Much better." I took a look out into the courtyard. My Qingshen was still standing in the center of the yard, wearing that same defensive look on his face. Just then, when Nancy and Huang Ye stepped into the courtyard together, their eyes instantly filled with rage as they glared at him. "Why are you here?"